Hello, this is Coach Ruckman, www.coachruckman.com. I just wanted to go over some of the coverages you can run out of the 3-5-3, 3-3 stack, whatever you want to call it. Now, I know before I've addressed the interior players, also all your backers you have. You've got up to 5 backers on the field, or maybe 3 backers and 2 dog safety types. But I want to go ahead and show you a simple way you can put in cover 3 out of this, and it shouldn't take much teaching at all to get your players really good at it. And we'll start with, again, cover 3. Well, you see my linebackers are numbered 1 through 5. Generally, I like doing that so I can keep track of who's on the strong side. My 1 linebacker is probably a different kind of person than my 5. And also remember, the numbering system is to make for easy blitzing, which is on a different video. Feel free to watch it. It's easy ways you can do some blitz tags from all 5 of those guys. So anyway, we have our linebackers here 1 through 5. Of course, your corners will always have deep thirds, free deep thirds, this corner deep thirds. Generally, this corner will have, of course, from the hash out. This corner will have from the hash out. And your free safety will have generally between the hashes. You can adjust that based upon where the ball's at on the field, strength of the passing set, however you want. But cover 3 means there are 3 deep defenders. And in this look, the simplest way to get there are the 2 corners and the free safety. Again, this is a really simple way to teach cover 3. We have a 2x2 set because this defense was designed to give you strength against the spread shotgun type formations. 1s and 5s usually will be just slightly inside and about 5 yards off of the number 2 receiver. Again, we number our receivers outside in. There's the 1, there's the 2. Here's the 1 receiver, there's the 2 receiver. The running back would be treated as the number 3 receiver. But you can do all kinds of things. Generally though, in this, the 1s and the 5s, your dog safeties, are just inside shaded of the number 2, about 5 yards off. You can apex them, what's called the traditional outside linebacker apex if you want. Split the difference basically between the number 2 and the tackle and about 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. That may leave a little too much room because they run these offenses, they have a lot of athletes. You probably don't want to leave these guys that far off of the slots. A lot of people put their best receivers there, their best athletes. But anyway, back to cover 3. Now we have to install the underneath zone type. There's the over, the deep zone, everybody's in the thirds, but now you need your underneath zone stuff. Like every coverage, there's weaknesses to everything. Feel free to email me how I might line up to a certain thing or what my thoughts are on certain types of routes. But this is an easy way to teach a basic cover 3. You're probably familiar with traditional landmarks such as flats, seams, etc. But as I've heard it explained to me from some good coaches, grass doesn't catch any balls, hashes and numbers don't score touchdowns and get first downs. So you want to make sure with a zone, you don't want to end up still covering empty grass. So all of our landmarks in this will be landmarks on receivers. The 5s and the 1s, their landmarks will be off the number 1 receiver. Generally, we want to get inside and under the number 1 receiver up to 10 yards deep. Okay? So he comes off the line, ball snap, you read pass. A lot of times people will go ahead and read the in lineman. That'll give you a run pass, the high hat, low hat thing. He sees pass, he wants to open, get inside and under the receiver up to 10 yards deep. Why 10 yards? Because it is truly a zone. If it's a vertical, we don't want the 5 chasing down the field in zone. We want him sitting at 10 yards. So if it was a vertical, he would chase, get inside and under. At about the 10-yard mark, he would square up and settle for what would be considered maybe a flat area. Why would he settle? Well, because this is a common route. We have that in. A lot of people in America have that in. The outside runs a go, the inside runs an out. Well, if this guy is chasing the vertical, there's going to be a lot of room to throw and catch and a lot of room to run. So the landmark there is inside and under the number 1 receiver. It's a pass. I'm opening my hips, not turning my back, but I'm running, identifying where the 1 is, and I want to get inside and under him to 10 yards. Why inside and under? Your help is over the top deep. You want to be under because any throws want to go over top of you. Any throws, we want to make them throw over top of you. So inside, because we want you to be in between the quarterback and the receiver. So you want to be inside. It's about like basketball. You want to be between the ball and the goal. You want to be between the quarterback and the receiver, up to 10 yards deep. When you get to your 10-yard landmark, you need to settle down and play the traditional zone with getting your eyes back on the quarterback. That's the same for the 1 and the 5. Ball snap, I get my hi-hat read, I turn and open, being athletic, identifying the 1, get inside and under him up to 10 yards. That way it takes away things like the hitches, you're inside and under, and the verticals, you let them go deep. Now, an important concept is you must always stay inside and under 10 yards. What cannot happen, this has to be a physical underneath zone. If, say, at 7 yards, this guy tries to run a square in, this is whenever you got to be a big boy football player and you put your hands on them and make sure that you can't let this receiver just run on the inside, which, you know, isn't illegal unless the ball's in there and all that kind of stuff. So you got to make sure that you maintain that position because you don't want this receiver to be able to run just any type of square in. All right, the number 4 or the number 2, their landmark is the number 2 receiver. The number 2 receiver, same thing. They see, they get high hat, they're sprinting out, trying to get inside and under. Just I'll put verticals there because it's easy. They're trying to get inside and under the number 2 receiver to 10 yards deep. Again, now we want to have to where we've taken away any throw that the quarterback can make to the underneath zone to the 1, because the number 5 now is inside and under the number 1. The number 4 now is inside and under the number 2, up to 10 yards deep. Again, we don't want everyone running out of there to their deep thirds because we have help in the deep thirds. Now things like mesh, other type of routes, so number 4 basically now has the same responsibility. He's going to get inside and under. They try to run some type of mesh or drag. Again, they must reroute that. They must put their hands on that receiver. Cannot at any time in really any pass coverage of any type let the receiver get a, say like the number 4 is here, and now the receiver's cut underneath them. Now that's a problem in any pass coverage because the quarterback has a direct line of sight, a direct throw to the receiver. So in all of these rules, your landmarks are the number 1 if you're the 5 or the 1, the number 2 receiver if you're the 2 or the 4. But at all times, whenever you're getting to your landmark, if they ever try to break it off and in, you must maintain that area inside and under the receiver, so that again a quarterback must try to throw any ball over top of the linebackers. That's where your help is, over the top. Many quarterbacks and receivers are not going to make nearly as many catches throwing over top of linebackers. The ball's going to be higher. The receiver can't catch it right here in the chest. The receiver has to reach up, and now the fingers come into play as being the only thing to catch the ball, not the whole arms. So anytime you can get a receiver to stretch the ball, there's a greater likelihood they're going to drop the ball because, again, they're only using their fingers. When you give the receiver an open line of sight to the quarterback, now they can get their fingers and their arms and everything in there to slow the ball down and make sure it's a good, solid catch. So the underneath zone for the 4 would be inside and under the number 2 to 10 yards deep. Anything over 10 yards is deep third. We want to let them roll. The 3, their landmark is the number 3 receiver. And it's important to say the number 3 because you don't have to really change anything in trips. Right now we'll say the number 3 receiver is in the backfield. If they do any type of inside release, same kind of thing. You want to maintain your inside and under of any time he runs in this area here, inside and under the number 3 receiver, up to 10 yards deep. Now, there's weaknesses to everything. Under this type of description, a little swing route. Well, your number 3 is not going to chase that. Not going to chase that because it is a zone. They're trying to get inside and under the number 3 receiver, but it's not a man, so he would never cross the line of scrimmage. That's another key. It's a zone, so you're not going to chase across the line of scrimmage. But look, if there's a swing pass, the whole point of zone coverage and playing sound zone coverage so you can come up and make the stop. So, if there is a swing pass, you've got your number 5, your number 4, and your number 3 all right here to come up and make the play. Again, you're just trying to control the passing game in a cover 3. You're not trying to stop. Cover 3 isn't really a pass stopping formation or defense as much as it is a pass controlling defense. So, you can do your own way of teaching the underneath zones. If you want your 5 always going to the flats, you want your 4 always sitting in the seams, you want your 3 always sitting in the hole. That's fine. But the problem comes in, well, what happens if there's no routes at all being run in these areas? You are just kind of wasting your cover and grass that isn't there. So make your landmarks be the receivers. Also, it'll make your linebackers get more aggressive. They'll hold butt to get inside and under that receiver. Because if you just tell them the flats, they may just take their time getting out there. Now if you tell them you got to get inside and under a receiver, bam, hopefully you get more aggressive in getting to your zone type areas. Again, principles are inside and under the number 1 receiver if you're the 5 or 1, inside and under the number 2 receiver if you're the 2 or the 4. Never chase people more than 10 yards deep. Never come up across the line of scrimmage for anybody until the ball has been thrown there. Now, if they're in trips, nothing really changes. If they're in some type of trips formation, nothing really changes. All right, except the numbers are changed because the strength changes. Your 1 would now say be over here. He's still going to be inside the number 2 receiver. Your 2 doesn't leave the box, 4 doesn't leave the box, and your 5 is over here, probably apex in between. You still have the same landmarks. The only one that puts a little more pressure on is the number 3. But again, you're controlling the pass, not stopping it. The 1, ball snap, reads pass. He's inside and under the number 1 up to 10 yards deep. Reads pass. Number 2, inside and under the number 2 receiver up to 10 yards deep. And now you have a little more pressure on him because he's inside and under the number 3 receiver to 10 yards deep. A lot of times still in good shape because this receiver is closer to that linebacker, plus a lot of the routes they run with these individuals tend to be even closer yet still to the middle linebacker. If you get into some type where they're bubbling this person, again, you're back to the principle of your control and pass. You're not going to chase that because you have the number 1 and the number 2 sitting in their zones and they can come up and make that play. So you can run the same principles even in some type of trip. Same thing over here. I'm inside and under the number 1 receiver. Nothing changed for me. I'm off. I'm inside and under him up to 10 yards deep. Nothing changed. So now doubles or trips, you can have the same really sound pass coverages. Now the number 2 more than likely for the 4 becomes the running back in the backfield. That's the number 2. So now that's the number 2 receiver my side. Again, he attacks, does something like that. Bam, I'm inside and under him up to 10 yards deep. He does some type of fade release. Again, I jam him and I run with him, but settle at 10 yards deep. Why never deeper than 10? Because even though things are going to break down, even though, say, it's some type of drag or mesh, this number 3 is supposed to be inside and under and wall them out and not let them inside. But it's going to happen. This drag is still going to get across there. Well, that's where whenever, say, like this look, they're further than 10 yards deep, the 4 sits, and now, bam, the 4 is right there waiting on any type of crossing route. So that's why it's important. Make sure your zones don't extend deeper than, say, 10 yards or so, and then they sit square to make sure to catch any of this crossing stuff that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even though they're supposed to not let people inside of them, I'm sure they will, depending on pass protection, and they sit at 10 yards so that if there is a crossing route or if there's a drag caught, again, you just want to control the pass, not let it beat you. You can come up and make those sound tackles. Again, if you have any questions at all, obviously, like every coverage, there's weaknesses to them. If you have any questions about certain types of alignments, further assignments, agree, disagree, contact me, www.coachruckman.com. I'll be more than happy to explain further or give you some of my own opinions, and I'll be looking forward to your advice as well. Again, thanks a bunch. Contact me if you need me. See you later.